So the next two gentlemen I want to introduce here actually have a place deep in my heart. One is because of where I live. We are incredibly prone to wildfires, and we need both men and women who are willing to go in and risk their lives. The other is I've been a volunteer firefighter for many, many years and on search and rescue, volunteer alpine search and rescue for many, many years. So I understand the depth and the difficulty and the courage that it takes for these men to do what they do. So I'd like to introduce two men, Brandon Smith and Chris Janjic. And actually, instead of me telling their story, I'm going to let them tell their story. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Just first want to say thanks to Meredith, to the AV team, to Dewey for the lovely intro, Larry Gold and Larry Hunter for having us, and for organizing this wonderful platform, and especially to Larry Gold for seeing Brandon's work and for seeing the value in it and for inviting us here. And also thank you to my parents who are here in the audience. You saw my dad speak yesterday, and just wanted to say thanks for not only tolerating my want to make pictures as a living, but for supporting it and embracing it. Thank you. So first, Brandon, please, first I'll say we're kind of taking a little bit of a different format than all the other presentations. I figured we might have more of a conversational style between Brandon and I, and share a few clips from the film that we made together. So first, Brandon, if you don't mind introducing yourself and giving kind of the elevator pitch of what FFRP is.
So I want to echo the thank yous. I appreciate all of you all for inviting me here and being here. My name is Brandon Smith. I am the co-founder. I currently serve as the senior advisor for the Forestry and Fire Recruitment Program. We are a tuition-free fire academy and job placement program for people who are incarcerated, utilized as firefighters in marginalized communities in California. We support over 100 people a year, and our whole goal is twofold. One, to help create the next generation of wildland firefighters, and then also to immediately reduce the impact of wildfires within California. I've worked with Chris and his team at Blue Chalk for numerous years, and just so blessed to be here. Like Chris mentioned, we're going to share a few clips. We'll go back and forth. I'm here for all your questions. I think some of you all are going to dinner. I'll be at dinner, so we can talk later. And just, yeah, here we go. We'll end out the day with us.
Yeah. So first, a little bit of a background on how this film came to be. My colleague and good friend, Kenzie Bruce, who ended up being the director on the film, reached out to Brandon in 2020 after having read an article about the passing of some legislation in California that allows formerly incarcerated wildland firefighters to get one felony expunged from their record for their service while they were incarcerated. And in that article, there was one sentence about FFRP, Brandon's program. And so she reached out. She wanted to explore if we could do a project together. That's how her relationship with Brandon and Royal Ramey, Brandon's co-founder, started. I grew up in Boulder. Wildfires have been present in my life since as long as I can remember. In 2003, I got to not go to school for a week because during the Overland Fire, the wildland firefighter crews set up their command post in Centennial Middle School. as long as I can remember, friends have been evacuating from their homes. Some have lost their homes in wildfires up in the mountains in Boulder, and now closer into the city. So fast forward to 2020, when Kenzie brings up this article, we're based in Portland, Oregon, and that was in the middle of the Black Lives Matter protests that were following the murder of George Floyd. So Kenzie had recognized this intersection of climate change and social justice issues that FFRP had long recognized and were clearly trying to address head on. And when she brought this up in a team meeting at the production company that I used to work at, I immediately messaged her and was like, I'm in, tell me how I can help. So 4 years later, I'm proud to say that we finished this film. I worked as the cinematographer, Kenzie is the director, and we get to share a few of the scenes with you and talk about it. So without further ado, I'm gonna share first what I kind of like to call the Rocky training montage of the FFRP organization. And can I throw a quick curveball to the AV team? Is it okay if we dim the lights during the screenings? It's okay if the answer is no. Thank you.
Line out. Move in. Move it.
Everybody knows how a SWAT team works. You gotta have a swamper, and the swamper is here.
It is my great pleasure to introduce Royal Raymond.
When I ended up going to prison, it gave me the opportunity to figure out who I am and who I wanted to be.
You should have the participant checklist. You need to pass your 50-question test with 80% plus pass the pack test. You have to walk 3 miles with 45 pounds on you in 45 minutes.
There's like 2 big areas. If you have 2 or more felonies, you can't even take the test.
The whole last thing about that is something else. But once you do this, you are actually certified as a firefighter. You can be able to go out on our work crews.
Okay, so Brandon, clearly your day-to-day isn't just training firefighters. There's a lot more to what your organization does. Can you take us through what you do on your day-to-day?
Yeah, Chris, I got you. So similar to my sister who was talking about the indigenous people, since World War II, incarcerated people have been utilized in California as firefighters and to fill any labor need that the state needs. These folks get paid $1.50 a day. When they work on fires, they get paid $1 an hour. And once they come home, all of the work experience that they have, all of the training and experiences that they have are invalid, null and void. Let's not even start diving into the fact about re-entering into society. And so that's where FFRP comes in. So FFRP, once people come home from incarceration as wildland firefighters or firefighting staff, we go and recertify them. So we have our own fire academy. We also work with social workers like the University of Southern California, their Masters of Social Work, to go provide individual case management to go help them to go re-enter. We provide them with paid on-the-job training that can be anywhere from 2 to 6 months, so that when people apply to a job, they don't have to say, well, I do have experience. Well, let me hold on. Let me back up. Well, let me finish my statement. So that they do have experience that doesn't antiquate them to being incarcerated. I come to this space from a lived experience. I am a formerly incarcerated person that worked as a firefighter. Once I was doing that work, I loved that work so much that I wanted to do it once I came home. And that was very, very, very hard, almost none to do. None of my certifications mattered. None of my job experiences mattered, because my only job experience is doing this work while incarcerated. So I have to say I was doing this work while I was in prison. Interestingly enough, firefighters are one of the most, I would argue, publicly honored public servants, right? People talk mess about the police. People talk mess about ICE. People talk stuff about air. Nobody talks anything about the firefighters. These are the people that get the cats out the trees, right? And so when you talk about someone who has a record hopping into a public service work, is extremely hard. And so FFRP provides a 6-month to a year-long opportunity once people come home for them to go do this, so that they can go get their credentials and the job experience that they need, to where it doesn't reflect the fact that they were formerly incarcerated. This work has been an uphill battle, as we all know. I don't have to come out here and preach to the choir about wildfires and their increasing severity. I'll also mention, well, I'll go into that later. And so what our work does is we provide people with a sense of hope. Our goal is to increase the amount of underrepresented people within the fire department, which includes women, minorities, people of color, marginalized communities. The majority of firefighters in California, actually the whole country, are white men from rural areas, non-urban areas. And our whole goal is just to increase the representation of that. It's been an uphill battle, and I think Chris and I will dive into that. And so our whole goal is to inspire people to go out here and hop into the fire service. Once I came home, never in my life did I ever see a black firefighter. I never knew one. I remember watching Backdraft as a child and saying, like, actually, that's not a job I want to do, being a firefighter. And it took, sadly, it took my life's situation to go out and be in the forest, being from Los Angeles. I was just telling Chris, he took me around the city. I was like, the air is so clear and the sky is so beautiful. The mountains are so beautiful. You don't get that in LA. And so our whole goal is to inspire the next generation of people to have that experience and do that work.
Yeah, thank you. And in addition to providing the service to your participants, you're also lobbying for new legislation that can make your efforts easier. There's advocacy, there's legal aid. Your program is very multifaceted to addressing the issue at large.
Yeah, so we have case managers, we work with legal aid. There is like a law in California that allows people to expunge some of their records to go move forward and hop into fire departments. It is slowly but surely gaining in popularity, but it is not popular yet. One of the biggest things that we talk about in FFRP, though, on a tip, is not just in training the next generation of firefighters, but in doing preventive work right now in the immediate. When it comes to wildfires, we always tend to be reactive. We want to go do the work once the fire happens or after the fire happens, which is kind of like why we're in the problem right now. We always want to put a box around the fire and put it out, even though fires should naturally like burn, like the indigenous people taught us. And so our whole goal is just to go support the community moving forward. And what we're saying is that we are not the sum of our biggest mistakes. There is redemption. There is a path to move forward as people. And we are a community that's here, that's ready to help.
Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to jump into the next scene.
No.
Poo-poo. TV. Yeah, good stuff. Did you have a drink? Yeah. What'd you drink about?
When I graduated as a senior, I was actually the student body president. And I was recently admitted to the University of California at Berkeley, majored in African American studies and liberal studies. Once I graduated from school, I ended up being a teacher. My life caught back up with me. I got caught with a pound of marijuana in my car. And that triggered a whole lot of sequences that led me into constant incarceration for a very long time. I ended up being incarcerated like more than 9 times within a 6-year period. When I went back to prison in 2012, I went to fire camp. Fire camp is very exploitative, and it also has the opportunity to be extremely transformational. One of the things that I realized a couple of years ago is that we actually operate in systems that were not built for us to succeed. I'm not the person that the world thinks I am. I am a lot more than that. Firefighting gave me that opportunity.
So you say we operate in systems that were not built for us to succeed. Who do you mean by we? And how is it built for you to fail?
So I believe that we as humans in general, we have this tendency to have an us and them capacity. Like it's either like us, like the insiders, and everybody else, like who is deserving of support and resources. And then that becomes the conversation, and the conversation gets convoluted. Within America, well, within a lot of countries, but specifically within America, the carceral system is not built in a redemptive manner. What I say is when, for example, in California, the prison system is called the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation. Most states have some form of rehabilitation. Where is the rehabilitation? Where are the skills and the trainings that are learned? Many of us watched Orange is the New Black, but I can cite many other states and cities and things where there are so many industries and things that we're trained in to go do, or yet once we come home we are unable to go do that, to go like thrive in life. And so one of the very interesting, I am completely responsible for the challenges and the wrongs that I have done in my life, and I accept that, and I hold myself 100% accountable. And/or though, how is it that a situation that's completely legal today brought me into a situation of like 6 to 9 years of incarceration back and forth? And why did it take, I think we'll get to it, but why did it take a job training program while incarcerated to pull me out of that continual cycle of challenges? What we find is so much redemption in the work of firefighting. Like I said, it was one of my first times outside of the city, fresh air. I was in Big Bear. I was like, oh my gosh, I love it. I went to Sequoia National Park, like really big trees. Like they have really, really big trees. Really, really big trees. And it was like, how come I didn't get that in middle school, in high school, STEM classes in elementary? And so like, especially knowing that the state of California and the federal government has a need for firefighters. Stat, the state of California is in need of 2,500 firefighters within the next year. The federal government is short 6,000 firefighters in the next year. Yet we do nothing to recruit, train, help folks out. Mm-hmm. And then actually, I heard something that actually trickles also. I just want to also bring it to conversation that even though my work is directly in firefighters, this work is more than just firefighters. When you talk about forestry and wildfire management, you talk about land management, you talk about timber, you talk about silver culture, you talk about reforestation, you talk about soil toxic. There are so administrative folks, cooks, mechanics for fire engines. There are so many opportunities for our communities that are just not provided to us. And so we tend to just hop into these repetitive cycles. Half of my participants live in South Central. And they're like, most of them are formerly incarcerated, so they already know, but we're trying to do a preventative measure with young folks. And they're like, I never even knew about this opportunity. All we do is just watch the fires when they burn, or they tell us to wear a mask at school, or the ash falls on our cars. We want to help, but we don't know what to do. And so we just keep being in this repetitive cycle. And that's where FFRP talks about being preventative instead of being responsive. How do we start to shift from a deficit model to a model that of abundance? We have thousands of people out here graduating every year. We have folks that, you know, train in that are capable to go fill these jobs. Yet we don't do anything proactive towards it. So how do we do that?
Yeah, and it shouldn't take going to prison to have access to that kind of exposure to jobs like wildland firefighting.
I've literally been asked, so sombering, but it's a very comedic take. We laugh about it all the time. I've literally been asked, do I have to go to prison to join your program to be a firefighter? Ain't that crazy? Systems.
Yeah. So for the interest of time, I'm going to skip one scene, but I want to talk about a little bit. We've talked about the kind of like the resources that are easy to put on paper that you guys provide to your participants, you know, mm-hmm. the legal aid, the recertifications, the additional training. But talk to us about kind of the soft support that your program gives, that you might give directly to your participants, but also when working in a group together where these participants are counting on each other to show up for work every day. What kind of support systems have you created that help prevent recidivism, help encourage each other to, you know, keep doing the work and to keep focusing on the goals that are in your program?
Okay. Even though it's not perfect, I always reference Maslow's law. Don't we all deserve to have gainful employment, to go support our families, our children? Don't we all deserve the right to go support our communities? Don't we all have the right to prevent disasters and displacement of people? Don't we all deserve a safe place to live, food to eat, money? And so one of the things that we do is, beyond helping folks to provide what we call family winning careers, we also work with the person individually to go help make sure that all of their needs are met. Reentering into society while being gone for however much time is a challenge just in the first place. Then secondly, hopping into the fire career. And so we work with folks to make sure, do you have somewhere to live? Do you have some food to eat? Do you have a driver's license or transportation? Are you in connection with your kids? Do you have arrears? Have you paid child support to go see your kids, which is weird. I don't know why people put people in prison to pay child support, because how they gonna get a job to go pay child support, but they in prison? But anyway, that's a tangent. But like, so we work with the person individually. One of the things that that we work on within FFRP is we treat every individual individually. And how do we go do that? And how do we go address their own needs to make sure that they can go thrive and have their best lives possible? So between our case managers, our team members, we deal with. I am now at the place, Royal and myself are now at the place with 100 people a year. I may know about like 40, 50 of them, but I used to know every single one individually. They all have my cell phone number. Anything they need, I'm here for them. And it's about building a sense of community.
Yeah.
It's about building a sense of like, also knowing again, I never knew anybody in my community who was like where I was, like who has done this work. And so what's interesting is like also having a network of folks to help you to say like, here's how you move forward. I'm here with you. If you go to a fire station in Sacramento, I know this person, that person. And then also, how do you thrive? We don't want to just get people in entry level work. We want people to thrive and promote.
Yeah, and the only thing I would add there is the accountability that the participants give to each other.
Oh.
They have the groups will have these text threads and they'll check in with each other like, hey, traffic on the 5 is terrible. You need to leave 30 minutes early. And they're checking in with each other, which creates this like inherent support system that I think is really crucial for their success. So.
One of the interesting things about this career is I tell people all the time, be ready for what you're signing up for. This is not just a 9-to-5 job. Firefighting, being in this wildfire sense, in this forestry sense, is a way of life. It's 24/7. Wherever you walk to or go, they're going to be there. You see somebody displaced on the side of the road, I pull over. And so like just being and holding each other accountable.
Yeah, thank you. Going to play the last scene. It'll take us a little bit over time. I apologize. I hope that's okay. But it'll be worth it.
I am proud to say that all of these graduates will be working on the fire line in this fire season. Many of us know that wildfires ravage the state of California continuously. There's a shortage of firefighters right now. You can ask CAL FIRE, the state fire agency. You can ask the U.S. Forest Service, the federal agency.
Good morning, everybody. Brent, Onayan, Night Operations. It was definitely a little chilly out there last night. We had 4 crews in there. They mopped up throughout the division, but they got a little bit of burning done just near DP10, just south of there. So things are starting to pick up in that respect.
Now, when we scouted out this piece when it was coming down, it's a lot of trees that's sketchy, right?
You guys ready?
Yes, sir.
Moving.
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 Everybody's supposed to be doing their part in life. And I feel like my purpose is giving.
I'm behind you.
Bump that down to the bare minimum, all the way back to the
I think a lot of people doesn't get challenged. It's hard for an individual to realize their power, they realize the things that they can possess to make their lives better. One of the hardest things that I had to do, look myself in the mirror, in my soul, in my heart. Am I the person that I really want to be? Fear, I think, really kills a lot of people's dreams. You're going to have to change the way you think. You're going to have to look at yourself in a different light. You're going to have to sacrifice things. Some people don't really truly believe that they can do it. But when you're fearless, nothing can hold you. You're fully free. That's what wakes me up in the morning, you know?
To see us go in there with confidence, with teamwork, go in safe, come out safe is huge.
Let's get it. Can I get a soup? Come on, soup.
Hey, well, bring it in on me. Buffaloes on me. Buffaloes on 3. 1, 2, 3. Buffaloes. Let's go, man.
You know what to do. They'll get to
So, yeah. So the last couple points we'll make is your professional crew, the private wildland fire crew that you launched, where you hire kind of the cream of the crop out of your program to go fight wildfires on contracts, is called the Buffaloes. So that's why they were cheering for the Buffaloes, which also go Buffs. But
that's right. Perfect. Yeah. No. Sorry.
So briefly, Brandon, tell us how many participants you've served, and I can remind you of the numbers if you need. But how many people have you served? What percentage of them obtain careers in wildland firefighting after graduating from your program, and compare your recidivism rate versus the state of California's?
Okay, I'm going to specifically refer to our career training program. So FFRP has been in existence since 2018. We have currently served 350 people. Of those 350, 315 is the number right now, currently work in the forestry or wildfire sector. Out of the 350 people, only 10 people have recidivized or gone back to some justice involvement. Since being involved, we provide family-winning careers, and we go help folks to go move forward. And our Buffalo crew was created, the Buffaloes, because of the Great Fire of 1910 that actually happened in Ohio, or maybe it was here, but I think Ohio, where the Buffalo Soldiers were a group of folks that helped to influence what wildland firefighting was. And so we have a permanent group of 20 on-call firefighters to respond to all wildfire incidents nationally.
Yeah, so 10 out of 350 compared to California, which is 40%. That's pretty remarkable.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So with that, Firebreak is currently playing at film festivals and is available exclusively for screenings to educational distribution via Collective Eye. There's a link to learn more about how to watch at that QR code. And if you want to learn about how to support Brandon's program, you can navigate to the impact page on that website as well. And if you have any other plugs, please feel free, but I want to make sure we have time for questions.
Yeah, I'll be really quick. To provide some context, just so you all know, incarcerated people that work as firefighters, not every incarcerated person has the ability to work as a firefighter. Just so you know, even though I support all, I'm in full support of reform of the carceral system, but you should know that these group of people are what you will consider low-level offenders. Yeah. So there are some bases. You cannot be incarcerated for murder, what they call hard crimes, sex offenses, and/or arson. So that's that. So these, and one of the things that you'll find is how we're trying to reform the carceral system or the prison system in California is what you'll find is a lot of the people that we deal with have challenges and issues that probably shouldn't have put them in prison in the first place. And so we're working on reforming that, and we're doing preventative measures. We're going to high schools and moving forward. California is not the only state that does this work. There are also like 14, 15 other states that use incarcerated people as firefighters, all the way to North Carolina, Florida, Virginia, and you all know everybody out here, Colorado uses them as well. But then also prison, the use of incarcerated people as laborers is a very large thing and happens in all of our states, throughout the whole country. We incarcerated people fill labor gaps and get paid extremely, extremely low wages while companies and other folks maximize and benefit. Again, and one of the last stats that I'll just provide to you is like when I was working on fires, I was getting $1.50 a day plus $1 an hour. So let's just say for sake of it, $26 a day, which I'm not here to talk about my carceral things, and I understand my challenges, compared to somebody making $700 a day. Yeah. Doing this work, doing the same work. And we're here, and one of the things that we're trying to do is just be proactive. I'm here for questions, and I'm always just around. And thank you all for having me.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh,
thank you both so very much.
We're supposed to stand.
Yeah. Come on in, Brandon. If you stand inside those lines, you can be.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
No worries. 3% recidivism rate, that's pretty darn good. Mm-hmm. Well done. So questions?
I have a comment rather than a question, but at a time when it's hard to see much enthusiasm and hope, it's wonderful to see a really well-designed program that has brought hope to people and is giving people their lives back. So I want to thank you for that.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you for what you do. I am, okay, could it be tough? I am very close to a firefighter. My son is a wildland firefighter up in Washington State. He's currently on a Type 3 engine crew down in southern Florida burning the Southern Rough, if you know Southern Rough. But the one thing that's really tough is you kind of glossed over it a little bit, but the low pay, even for your incarceration, should have a lot more. But even the wildland firefighters are still very low paid.
Yes.
And there is a bill going through Congress sponsored by one of the local congressmen to get that done. I forget the name of the act. I'm sure you remember. But there's also the effect on family and the effect on being away. It's like being in the military. You go on a 14-day assignment, you're not going home at 5 o'clock. You're leaving, you're going, and you work 16-hour days, and you have 8 hours off, and you have to eat, sleep in a tent, out in the middle of nowhere. It's such a tough job that you guys do. You have the structure, and we all see the structure. We see the fire engines going down the street to a house fire. They can still go home at the end of their shift, 10 days or whatever, and they still have a place to go. sleeping out in a tent. Showers, maybe, things like that. You're nodding your head. It's amazing for what you do, and they are lower paid than anybody else. We see the structure. We don't see the wildland firefighters until they're needed, and they just kind of come out of the woodwork. And the call goes out, all of a sudden they're there, I mean, states away. He has actually gone internationally on some things just to do that. So part of that is thank you for what you do. And part of that is please support the bills that are going through Congress. But could you speak to how your incarceration and the family life when you go out on a 14-day deployment? How do you handle the family dynamics when you're in something like that?
Right. Thank you for your question. A couple of things. I'm aware. Well, let me get some context. So there's what people call structural firefighters and wildland firefighters. Most structural firefighters we all know, right? Like if this building burnt up, they would be here. And then there's wildland firefighters that work like out in the open and with vegetation. Most federal government agencies don't qualify those or term those people as firefighters. They call them forestry technicians. And one of the things that, yes, they call them forestry technicians, even though they're the firefighters. And so there are actually two bills in place that are looking to reclassify and increase pay. Actually, FFRP is doing an event in Los Angeles next week to help a Congress person change that. So hopefully. One of the things we also talk about is, yes, the days are long. My longest assignment, I was out for 21 days, and that doesn't even include travel. I forget where I was. I think I was in like Minnesota or something. Like I was somewhere weird. But right, it can be long and hard, whether you're incarcerated or not. And then you're in rural areas that have limited service and contact to people. And so one of the things, that's why we that's why one of our focuses is on prevention, especially when people are coming home from incarceration. We go out here and go say, well, maybe you don't want to go out and do these 14, 21-day assignments, but one of the things that we can do is immediately go clear and thin the forest right now to go prevent these serious things from happening. And that allows you to have somewhat of a 9 to 5. And increasing the pay, even though there's a difference in pay, increasing the pay also for these folks. And so all of us are working on that and moving forward.
One of the things I would add there is there's the 10s and 18s, the kind of rules that wildland firefighters have to memorize as part of their training. And one of those is don't sleep near the fire line.
Right.
And that seems, obvious, but it is a real risk because you guys are working 20-hour days. Mm-hmm. And it's so easy to fall asleep in a dangerous place where fire could come out of nowhere. And so that kind of gives an idea of how hard their days are.
Okay, one last quick question, please.
I have a question about FFRP. The thought of starting an organization like that is just daunting. And I'm kind of wondering how you got it, because you're one of the co-founders, right? How you got it going, how is it funded? Just tell us a little bit more about that.
Okay. I actually love that story. So while I was incarcerated as a firefighter at a fire camp, which is like a mini prison for incarcerated people who work as firefighters. My co-founder, Royal Ramey, was also there with me at the same time. And he and I literally were sitting there. We had just read some Malcolm Gladwell book. I forgot what it was, probably Blink or something. And I forgot what it was, but I was like, I want to be a firefighter once I come home. And he was like, I do too. But neither of us knew any formerly incarcerated people who had transitioned into that place professionally. We had no role models. We had no mentors. So he and I came home and we tried to do it. So I came home, I was going to fire stations for about 2 years trying to figure out how to be a firefighter. And they would say, your credentials don't work. Your experience doesn't work because you're formerly incarcerated. And then we figured out a process where I had to go back to a fire academy to go get recertified. I had to go work as a volunteer firefighter to go out here and get some non-fire experience. And it's so ironic that this is how God works. On the very first fire that we worked on professionally with the U.S. Forest Service in Big Bear, the same camp and crews that he and I were in and incarcerated with, we were on the fire. So it's kind of like the Spider-Man movie where like everybody's looking like, who's the Spider-Man? Like everybody's pointing fingers because they were so surprised that we were here. We were kind of like their role models. They were like, whoa, you actually did it. And I'm like, oh, wow. Like I was just there 2 years ago. Like, oh my gosh. And it was at that moment, the wardens, the counselors, they all gave me hugs and all that. And so what we started doing was it was a volunteer effort while we were working professionally. And we would just spend our spare time and we would say, hey, when you come home, let's meet at Starbucks. I can help you with your resume. Let me know what your exit date is. Let me find some school to go help you go get recertified. Let me find somewhere to go get you 6 months of actual experience while not incarcerated. And it started growing so much to where to Arville, because I'm from California. So the state of California helped us out with our first grant, $500,000 over 3 years. And that forced us to leave our permanent jobs and transition into FFRP. We're currently funded 40% through philanthropy. So we have support from the James Irvine Foundation. Google has helped us out. We're 40% funded by the state of California and Los Angeles County. And then the rest of it comes from what we call fee-for-service work. So keep in mind, our work is they do half their time in class, half their time in the field. And when they're training in the field on the job training, what they're actually doing is contracting work that we've set up with local homeowners, land stewards to go get the work done, because where we are, there's a lack of contractors to go get this work done. So we also have a fee-for-service model.
Thank you so very much, both of you.